Hi there, and thank you for clicking on my video. We're going to be covering the MR30 test today. It was a requested video by John Claus in the YouTube comment section. Um, yeah, I'm not going to lie. In terms of like setup and like a good detailed, was requesting specifically. Let's see. Would love to see a good detailed video on the MR30 mastery rank test, loadout, weapons, tips, tricks. Um, I'm not gonna lie, this test has been power crept. If you can do Steel Path, you can easily do this test. I'll show you the loadout that I'm gonna use. It's pretty simple. It's the standard. Um, it's the standard Neja build that I usually use, where it's a brick. You need something that won't die. Don't even bother with like invisibility frames or anything like that. Obviously, if you're like an Ash main or something, take what you're comfortable with. But it's just in this test, it's 5 rounds. You have to kill quote unquote bosses. They're just Eximus units with overguard. Um, so just take a strong weapon, and I'll show you the builds. It's literally just a tanky Neja. You can use something significantly simpler than this. But if you have like a reasonable amount of health, adaptation, Guardian Grace, I'm not going to show like a bunch of different builds for this because it's an MR30 test. So it's assuming you've played a bit. So at a minimum, Arcane Blessing, which is farmable, adaptation, reasonable amount of health. If you want it, you can throw um, like some healing on, like rejuvenation, just to make it that much more comfortable. But it's not required. Just take something that's a tank, that isn't like incredibly impaired movement wise. Uh, Tenet Ferox is just what I was using before. Nothing big there. I'm not even going to use it. Neferi is what I was using before. I was forming it, so it's unranked right now. Zenuric, not even going to use it. I guess you could if you wanted to. And I'm gonna basically do the entire thing because it requires primary, secondary melee in order to do the test, right? I'm just going to use a corrosive heat nucor. Super basic. The progenitor element, as much as it doesn't matter, but as it does, is magnetic. So corrosive deals with armor, magnetic deals with shields. Heat is just the juicy dot. And we will be taking the Panzer like normal. Um, so deals with both defenses. If you want to do like a melee, you would basically mod like a Steel Path Mott run, because there's so many factions. You're going to be dealing with Corpus. You're going to be dealing with Arbitration drones. You're going to be dealing with Grenier. You're going to be dealing with Eximus units. So you're going to have to bypass shields and armor. So if you are going to run like a melee setup or something, Toxin Slash would be on an equally weighted slash Toxin Slash on a melee weapon, would go miles. You could even do like a Tenet Agendus, something just like a strong melee weapon. That has like a magnetic progenitor, and then mod for corrosive, and just raw damage your way through it. But this test has been completely power crept. When this test came out, we didn't have the galvanized mods. We had the Steel Path Arcanes, but we've got stuff like Cascadia Flare. I'm going to be running this just for the extra damage and just so the damage increase isn't on kills, so I can get it super quick with multi-shot and whatnot. But this is just a standard damage build with prime mods. I'm assuming you have them, being MR30, so the test is going to be appropriate to an MR30, and I'm not going to do like a new bro build or like first time getting a Steel Path, right? Um, so it's just standard damage build for corrosive heat, galvanized mods, prime mods, the whole shebang. Use the best in slot that you got. If you don't have like all of the barrow mods, the prime mods, just use the best one that you have. Just make sure you're waiting is on the dot itself for obvious reasons, because if you proc something, you want it to be the dot so you get the scaling damage, right? And then corrosive magnetic radiation deals with defensive radiation, provides a little bit of CC, right? So just make sure it's weighted corrosive. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The test is 5 stages, basically 5 rounds. You kill a couple of enemies. Once you hit the kill count, quote unquote bosses get spawned in, where it's an increasing number each time, and the level increases each time. And again, if you've done Steel Path, which at MR30 I'm assuming you have, and you have a build that's pretty reasonable, this test is easy nowadays. So let's go ahead and knock this out. I'm literally just going to be using the pistol. So very little drama going on here, very little setup. Just take something that survives. I've seen people do it with Valkyr. I've seen people do it with Excalibur. Obviously, an enemy that is dead cannot hurt you. So the enemies start out at level 60. Probably the only quote-unquote elite strat we're going to be using is we're basically going to just go to the middle. So everything runs to us. Even got some sentience. Go ahead and get the stab off. And the reload. Alright, we got the correct kill mount. We got our arbitration drone to kill. Got a Blitz Eximus. They're dead. When you finish the round, you have to go activate a life support like in a regular survival. And it starts the next round. Gets you back up to a decent amount of life support, right? But we're going to go to the center so we can take advantage of the new core's chaining. And once you get the number of kills, don't clear the map. Because you need people to kill, basically. So now that we got it, we're just going to go back to the center. Knock everything down. Chains are going to be helping us out a ton. Got a nice little reload. Okay, that guy jumped off the bridge. Just going around killing like a normal exterminate, normal survival. You know the deal by now. It's an MR30 test. Alright, we got our bosses. We're just going to run around. Knock these guys out. Oh man, it glitched. Oh, okay, I got it. Alright, probably the most stressful thing. And it's not really gonna operate over to this one. You can jump if you do have some bullet jump and speed mods, like say like the Modus Exilis mod for bullet jump and sprint speed. Maybe you can mod for that. Again, is not required. You just need to be survivable. So we're not really going to move too much. We want everything to run at us, so we can get the kills as fast as possible. Gonna reload soon. Alright, there we go. We're gonna ignore the baddies, just go straight for the bosses. Oh, little arbitration drone. Easy enough. Crit on a headshot with a heat dot. It's pretty nasty as always. Pretty basic. Alright, we got done with that round. We're on the final round. We're gonna jump down to the platform. Nice and safe. Operate back. Back to the center. Everything's running at us, so we're just going to work in sort of a clockwise fashion. No drama here. It's only 40 enemies. Alright, we got our final boss group. Go ahead and knock these guys out. Yeah, level 100, final round. Not a big deal if you've done Steel Path. Alright, easy enough. Got it, and we're done. So, there's the MR30 test. Nice and easy. It used to be a decent gear check, right? Like, it used to be a decent gear check. But it's just... It got power crept. The galvanized mods and like the Zeraman arcanes and whatnot are just too good. So no drama doing it nowadays. Just take something tanky and that can survive. You're going to be dealing with gas ticks, and legitimately that's probably the most dangerous part about it. So something that can tank gas ticks, direct to health damage. But yeah, no drama. Just did it with a new core, a magnetic new core. Pretty basic build, corrosive heat on a magnetic new core. It's a meta new core. Easy enough, so... John Claus, I hope this helps. Pretty easy test nowadays. I remember when this came out, it felt like a big bit of accomplishment getting MR30, because I was able to get MR30 the first day that it was available. And that was a pretty big deal to me. And like since then, it's like this was like the last thing that it felt like I really had to do in Warframe. And it was kind of a letdown that the other tests were basically just recycled, right? Like the LR1 test is literally the Mastery Rank 1 test. So I guess they just gave up on doing these and making them unique. So from now on, every test afterward, unless they decide to change it, is just going to be the test lower. The same number test, but like I guess the prestige down, right? So if we ever get like a legendary rank 30, it's going to be the MR30 test, right? If that ever does happen, because that's a lot of affinity to get. But anyway, easy enough, right? So not a big deal anymore. If you've got like a new core, it's super easy to do. You just saw me do it. But anyway, I hope this helped, dudes. Have an excellent day. Stay blessed, my dudes. Take it easy.